Hi, and welcome to the Oikos Family Podcast. I'm Sonja Wood, and today I'm sharing with you Chapter 6 from the little gem of Little Daisy and the Swearing Class. Now, you might wonder about that title, The Swearing Class. Little Daisy clearly has a conviction about not using the Lord's name in vain, and she's very, very sensitive to it. And it all stems from what her mother taught her. She actually lost her mother at sea when she was just a little girl. However, the lessons that her mother instilled in her seem to be very prominent in her life, and they keep coming to mind. And so as she spends time playing with her little friends, and her little friends use words that she finds to be sensitive, she's concerned that they're using the Lord's name in vain. And her little friend, she has a little friend younger than her called Lily, and Lily says that she will speak to her daddy about this, and they will start a little class called the Swearing Class, and her daddy can teach everybody about what is actually using the Lord's name in vain and what is not, and what is acceptable and what is not according to the Bible. Anyway, there's a lot to cover in this particular chapter, but I was telling you about this at the beginning because all this culminates at the end of this chapter. So I really do hope you can listen to this particular podcast to the end. I think the chapter's about 14 minutes or so. So, as they say, without any further ado, here is Chapter 6 from Little Daisy and the Swearing Class.
Chapter 6. Daisy a Teacher. One morning just after school started, a heavy shower came up. When the time for the younger classes' recess came, the wet ground forced the little ones to find amusement indoors. "What shall we play?" asked Rosie Pearson. "Lady Queen Fair," said Bessie Norton. "We'll go out on the porch and play it." "Yes," said Violet. "Lily shall be Lady Queen Fair, and we'll dress her up a little." Miss Emily, who gave music lessons to the girls, passed by. Violet asked her, "May we have a rose to put in Lily's hair for Lady Fair?" The young lady smiled, stopped, and pulled a couple of roses from the vine which wound itself around the porch pillar. She gave them to Violet, then passed on. In time past, Violet would have hoped, or perhaps asked, to be Lady Fair herself. Then she would have pouted and acted displeased if the other children had not agreed. Now she was very different, and more apt to prefer another before herself. The girls quickly arranged the roses, the one in the hair, the other in the collar of the little Lady Queen's blouse. Meanwhile, some of the other children drew forward one of the rustic chairs on the porch to serve as a throne. The little Queen, like many another royal lady before her, found her throne by no means an easy one. "Ow!" she said, rubbing her shoulders where she had scratched them against the rough bark on the back of the chair. "Ow! This is not nice at all, or comfortable. My feet don't come to the floor, and if I lean back I'm all scratched. I'd rather be a queen without a throne." "Oh no, you must have a throne," said Susie Edwards. "Queens have to." "I don't see why," said Lily rather grumpily. She did not feel very well that morning, and the rainy day made her more fretful than usual. "I should think queens could do as they pleased, and make their subjects do it too. I don't see why they have to have their skin all scraped up if they don't want to." Lily twisted her head to give a grieved look at the little fat shoulder with that red mark upon it. "I'll fix you," said Lola. "I'll put Miss Collins's footstool under your feet, and the big cushion behind you. Someone bring the cushion while I carry the stool." The girls brought the footstool in a moment, but they could not find the cushion. "The big girls had it yesterday," said Fanny Satterley. I saw them with it during their recess when I went home. Here comes Cora Prime now. Let's ask her. Cora, what did the big girls do with that cushion yesterday when they finished with it? The Lord knows I don't, said Cora, playfully tapping Fanny on the head with a roll of music in her hand. Oh! exclaimed Lily. Daisy did not speak. As Cora's eye happened to fall upon her, Daisy's face said as much as Lily's "Oh." What's the matter with you two? asked Cora, looking with good nature from one to the other of the little girls. You oughtn't say that, said Lily. Ought not to say what? The Lord knows, answered Lily. Well, don't he know? asked Cora. No, said Lily, doubtfully. I guess not. I don't believe he'd bother himself with knowing about a worn-out cushion that has a hole in the cover. Yes, he does too, said Cora, laughing. Are not the very hairs of your head numbered? Now I know you talked shamefully, said Lily. You're talking Bible. That is not right, is it, Daisy? No, said Daisy, as boldly as Lily herself spoke. Quoting scripture in a careless manner was also a habit of many in the school. You two saucy monkeys correcting your elders, said Cora, much amused. I heard you both talking Bible to Miss Collins this morning with the rest of your class. We only said what we learned in Sunday school yesterday, said Lily. That's not the same thing. I know it's not right to talk Bible that kind of way. Papa says so, and he tells us not to do it. Your papa saying so does not make a thing right or wrong, said Cora. Yes, it does too, said Lily. My papa knows a whole lot, and he wouldn't tell a story for anything. Cora, you'd better go to your music lesson. I expect Miss Emily wants you. Oh, you are very considerate for Miss Emily all at once, said Cora, more amused than ever. You haven't told me why I shouldn't say the Lord knows, when he does know. Lily looked at Daisy, who stood by the arm of her chair for help. The little one felt that Cora was wrong, but she did not exactly know how to answer. She had noticed how carefully Daisy honored the name of God. Is it not taking the name of God in vain? said Daisy. Upon my word, said Cora. Do you mean to call that swearing? Well, yes, said Lily, taking up the word. A kind of baby swearing, I suppose. You know, it's not very good of you, Cora. Everybody says such things. They don't mean anything, said Cora. Not everybody, answered Lily. Daisy don't. Then Daisy's uncommonly good, said Cora. Yes, she is, replied Lily. I suppose everybody should behave uncommonly good and never say them. Cora laughed again. Everybody must mind their P's and Q's before you, mustn't they, Lily? And away she ran to her music lesson. Here's the cushion, said Rosie Pearson, running out from the schoolroom. I found it in the closet under the shelf. I suppose that's where those careless big girls left it. They placed the cushion behind Lily's shoulders. Still, the little queen fidgeted on her throne and declared she felt uncomfortable. Because if I lean back against the cushion, my feet won't touch the stool, she said. We'll put something else on the stool to make it higher, said Nettie Prime, trying to arrange Lily satisfactorily. What shall we take? Oh, I know. Daisy, run and bring the big Bible off Miss Collins's table for Lily to put her feet on. Daisy, who made a motion to start forward as Nettie began to speak, stood still when she heard what she called for. Make haste, said the latter impatiently. We won't have a bit of time to play. Daisy did not move, but stood with rising colour, trying to make up her mind to speak. Oh, you disobliging thing, said Violet as she ran for the book. Oh, don't, said Daisy, as Violet came back and stooped to put the Bible on the footstool. I didn't mean to act unhelpful, but we ought not to use the Bible to play with." "Pooh," said Violet. "Lily's little feet won't hurt it. It's all worn out anyway. The cover is real shabby." "I didn't mean that," answered Daisy. "I meant because it is God's book, and we ought to treat it very carefully." "Oh, fiddle! How awfully particular you are, Daisy," said Minnie Grey. "Why, girls, do you know the other day when I played paper dolls with her, and I turned up a Bible to make the side of a house, she took it away. I put it back again, because it stood up better than the other books. She said she wouldn't play if I did so with the Bible." "I suppose Daisy would call that taking God's name in vain," said another, half reproachfully. "Wouldn't you, Daisy?" "I think it is something the same," answered Daisy. She felt as if all the others found fault with her. She felt they thought her awfully particular, a label which no little girl likes. "I don't see how," said Lola. "I know we ought not to play with the Bible, but I don't see how it is taking God's name in vain." "The Bible is God's book. He told it to the men who wrote it. His name is in it many times," said Daisy. "I think it seems like taking his name in vain to play with it, or to put things upon it, or to knock it about like our other school books. And it is not right to say the Lord knows, and mercy, and gracious, and such words, when we are just playing or feel provoked." "What is the harm?" asked Rosie. "Mercy and gracious are not God's name." "Well, no," said Daisy slowly, not exactly knowing how to explain herself. "And maybe I make a mistake, but it does seem to me as if it was a kind of little swearing, as Lily says," said Lola. "Yes," said Daisy. "Rosie thinks it is no harm. Even if it is not much harm, I don't see any good in it. We can talk as well without saying such words." "I guess they are pretty wicked," said Lily. "The day Mamma went away, I said, 'Good heavens!' She said, 'Lily, Lily,' very quick like she does when I do something very naughty. She asked me where I learned that. I told her Ellie said it. I didn't mean to tell a tale about Ellie. Mamma looked sorry, and she told me never to say it again. I guess mercy is almost the same. I guess I won't say it any more. Daisy, if I hear the other girls say those words, I'll help you correct them." Lily promised this with an air of such grave importance that the other children laughed. Not in the least abashed, Lily went on. "Papa's coming home day after tomorrow. I'll ask him to tell me a whole lot about God's name and why it is wrong to say those things. Then I'll tell all you girls. But I'm not coming to school anymore when Mamma comes home, so you'll have to come to my house. I'll have a swearing class and teach you all about it." Others might take Lily's words with a different meaning than what she intended. However, her schoolmates understood her, and that was enough. "Daisy," said Lola, "how do you know so much about these things when you don't know a lot about everyday lessons? You didn't even have anyone to teach you for a long time." "I don't know," said Daisy. "I think my own mamma taught me in the home I used to have." A dreamy look came into her eyes as she spoke of her far-away home and those she had loved there. "I think I've forgotten a good many things," she added, "although I couldn't forget what Mamma taught me about Jesus and what he wanted us to do if we loved him. I think if we do love him, we will respect words about his name, his heaven, or anything that is his. We will use them only in a good and gentle way." "You are so very particular, Daisy," said Minnie. "I think you are most too particular." "You can't become too particular about doing what Jesus likes," said Daisy. The other children had all gathered around Daisy. They listened with interest to what she said. Perhaps they heard her with more patience than they would give to anyone else. They looked upon her as sort of fairy or princess in disguise. They thought of Daisy as a mystery. They thought of her as a storybook child, as Lily had described her when speaking of her at home. "No," said Lola thoughtfully, "but it does not seem as if such little things are wrong. I know it isn't right to play with the Bible or say its words when we joke, but I don't see the harm of saying goodness or mercy or heavens. They are not God's name, and I don't see how we take it in vain saying them." Daisy looked thoughtful. She felt she was right and wanted to explain herself. She also felt shy and could not find words to do so. Lily, whom shyness never troubled, came to her aid. "Never mind," she said. "I'll ask Papa as soon as he comes home. He'll tell us all about it. If he says it is naughty, why, it is, and we won't do it. If he says it's good enough, why, we will. That's the way to fix it." Here the bell rang. "There now," said Susie Edwards. "We have to go in. We've wasted all our time talking and never had a bit of fun during recess." However, Susie was mistaken. They all gained more good from their talk than they could have from any amount of play. Their discussion had set more than one young mind thinking. From this day, even the most careless among them would check herself when she found herself using these words.